There will be moments in life when people will try to dim your light. They will mock your journey. They will question your worth. They will throw words at you like knives, sharp, cruel, and calculated. But in those very moments, I urge you, do not react, do not shout back. Do not try to prove your innocence to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You see, silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence is power. Because when you remain calm in the face of disrespect, you rise above the noise, you rise above the chaos, you rise above them. I have learned this the hard way. There were days I was laughed at for dreaming again after my fall. There were nights when people said I had no reason to smile, no value to offer. But I did not respond with bitterness. I did not argue to gain their acceptance. I stayed quiet and I let karma speak. I stayed quiet and I let karma speak. Because what you put into the world, whether kindness or cruelty, it always comes back to you. The universe does not ignore injustice. It simply delays its response because it believes in timing. And when karma speaks, it is louder than any voice, stronger than any revenge. So to you, my friend who is hurting, don't let disrespect change your character. Don't let someone's lack of grace steal your peace. Don't respond to fire with fire. Be the water. Be the calm. Be the proof that strength doesn't shout, it endures. And remember this, the person who disrespects you is already revealing their character. But how you choose to respond, that reveals yours. That there will be moments in life when people will try to dim your light. They will mock your journey. They will question your worth. They will throw words at you like knives, sharp, cruel, and calculated. But in those very moments, I urge you, do not react. Do not shout back. Do not try to prove your innocence to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You see, silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence is power, because when you remain calm in the face of disrespect, you rise above the noise. You rise above the chaos. You rise above them. I have learned this the hard way. There were days I was laughed at for dreaming again after my fall. There were nights when people said I had no reason to smile, no value to offer. But I did not respond with bitterness. I did not argue to gain their acceptance. I stayed quiet. And I let karma speak. Because what you put into the world, whether kindness or cruelty, it always comes back to you. The universe does not ignore injustice. It simply delays its response because it believes in timing. And when karma speaks, it is louder than any voice, stronger than any revenge. So to you, my friend who is hurting, don't let disrespect change your character. Don't let someone's lack of grace steal your peace. Don't respond to fire with fire. Be the water. Be the calm. Be the proof that strength doesn't shout. It endures. And remember this, the person who disrespects you is already revealing their character. But how you choose to respond, that reveals yours. There is a kind of strength that isn't loud. It doesn't roar, it doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention. It simply exists, quiet, calm, and immovable. That strength is silence. When people hurt us with their words or actions, our first instinct is often to fight back, to prove them wrong, to show them we won't tolerate disrespect. But true power lies in resisting that impulse. True power is knowing you could react, but choosing not to. Because silence doesn't mean you're defeated. It means you're wise enough to understand that not every battle deserves your energy. Not every insult requires a response. Silence is misunderstood in today's world. We're constantly told to speak up, clap back, defend ourselves. But there's a quiet kind of wisdom in choosing stillness. When someone disrespects you, they are revealing who they are, not who you are. Responding with anger only puts you on their level. But staying silent keeps you grounded. It allows you to walk away with your dignity intact, without being dragged into the chaos they are trying to create. Remaining silent is not about bottling things up or avoiding conflict out of fear. It's about choosing your peace over pointless arguments, disarguments. It's about valuing your time, your energy, your emotional well-being. When you stay silent after being disrespected, you're not saying it didn't hurt. You're saying, I refuse to give this pain any more space in my life. And that is a powerful decision. There is also a deeper form of trust that comes with silence, the trust that the universe keeps receipts, that actions, both good and bad, carry consequences. You don't need to expose people who mistreat you. You don't need to scream the truth to those who refuse to hear it. Life has a way of showing people who they really are through the results of their choices. It may not happen right away, but it happens, always. And when it does, your silence will echo louder than any words could have. People often mistake silence for weakness because they cannot comprehend the discipline it takes to stay calm in the face of cruelty. But silence is the language of those who have mastered their emotions. It's the response of someone who knows their worth is not up for debate. You don't need to explain yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need to shout to be heard by those who have already chosen to turn a blind eye. You protect your energy when you choose silence. You build resilience when you learn to endure without retaliation. And in that quiet space, you begin to grow. You become stronger not because you fought back, but because you refuse to let someone else control your narrative. You chose self-respect over revenge, and that choice becomes your power. And there's a certain kind of silence that is louder than noise. It speaks volumes. It says, I am unshaken. I am whole. I do not need to lower myself to be seen or heard. I am enough as I am. That kind of silence changes everything. It creates a boundary that doesn't need to be explained. It tells the world that you are not here to fight for validation. You are here to live in peace. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember this. You are not obligated to respond. You don't have to react to every slight, every insult, every attempt to provoke you. You can simply breathe, turn away, and let your silence speak. Because in the end, your calm is louder than their chaos. Your growth is louder than their hate. And your silence, steady, unwavering, and full of strength, will always be the final word. There's a profound kind of maturity that comes when you realize you don't have to react to everything. Not every comment deserves your attention. Not every insult requires a comeback. Not every situation needs a dramatic response. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to rise above it all. Yes. When people try to pull you into their storm, it's because they haven't found peace within themselves. They seek conflict because it gives them a sense of control. They provoke because they want a reaction. But you don't have to give them that satisfaction. The moment you decide to rise above instead of react, you take back your power. You remove yourself from their chaos and place yourself firmly in your own peace. Reacting may feel satisfying in the moment. It might seem like justice, like you're standing up for yourself. But often, it only brings temporary relief and long-term regret. Reactions are emotional. They come from a place of pain, anger, or insecurity. And when you let emotions dictate your response, you give away control. You become a puppet to the situation instead of the master of your response. Rising above, on the other hand, requires strength. It requires discipline. It takes a deep breath and a deeper understanding. When you choose to rise above, you're choosing self-respect over revenge. You're choosing peace over proving a point. You're choosing your future over a moment of anger. And that is a decision that builds character. People will test you. They will judge you without knowing your story. They will talk behind your back, throw shade, and try to drag your name through the mud. But none of that defines you. What defines you is how you handle it. What defines you is your ability to keep moving forward without getting lost in the noise. You are not here to match their energy. You are here to protect your own. You are not here to fight battles that lead nowhere. You are here to grow, to evolve, to build a life that reflects your values. And sometimes the only way to do that is to let go of the urge to respond. To let your silence speak. To let your actions show who you are. There's nothing passive about choosing not to react. In fact, it's one of the most active things you can do for your mental and emotional health. It means you are filtering what enters your space. It means you are no longer available for drama, for petty arguments, for people who drain your spirit. Imagine the freedom that comes with not needing to prove yourself. Imagine the peace that follows when you stop trying to correct every misunderstanding. When you know who you are, you don't need to explain it. When you are secure within yourself, external noise becomes just that noise. But it cannot shake you because your foundation is strong. And yes, rising above doesn't mean you don't feel hurt. It doesn't mean you're numb to disrespect or immune to pain. It simply means you've chosen not to let that pain guide your response. You've chosen to pause, reflect, and move with intention. That is not avoidance. That is emotional intelligence. There is so much power in not reacting. It allows you to think clearly. It gives you time to respond from a place of wisdom rather than impulse. And most importantly, it helps you grow. It'll Because every time you choose peace over pettiness, you are training yourself to be stronger, calmer, wiser. Let others waste their time in conflict. Let them play small games. You are not built for that. You are built for bigger things, for growth, for purpose, for fulfillment. You don't need to win arguments to win in life. Sometimes walking away is the real victory. Sometimes not responding is the most powerful response. So next time you feel triggered, remind yourself you don't have to react. You have the power to rise. You have the choice to be better, not bitter. Not bitter. And every time you choose to rise above, you become a little stronger, a little freer, and a whole lot wiser. There's a voice that doesn't need to raise itself, strength that doesn't demand attention, and a power that isn't loud or aggressive. That voice is dignity. When someone hurts you, lies about you, or disrespects you, revenge might seem like the first instinct. It feels like justice, like the only way to restore what was broken. But dignity walks a different path. It doesn't seek to destroy. It seeks to rise. It doesn't retaliate. It lets go. And in that quiet, steady presence, dignity speaks louder than any act of revenge ever could. Revenge is fueled by emotion. It's driven by anger, pain, and the desire to balance the scales. But more often than not, it leaves you feeling empty. It drags you into the very darkness you wanted to escape. It turns you into a reflection of the very thing you hate. And even if it satisfies you for a moment, that satisfaction is short-lived. Because revenge doesn't heal, it hurts. It doesn't resolve, it prolongs the pain. Dignity, on the other hand, is rooted in self-respect. It understands that walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. It knows that true power is in the ability to remain calm, to stay grounded in your values, even when everything in you wants to react. It's about maintaining your inner peace, not giving someone else the power to disturb it. Dignity doesn't need an audience, it doesn't perform. It simply holds its head high and moves forward, unshaken. You don't need to return what someone gave you. If they gave you hate, you don't owe them more of it. If they gave you likes, you don't need to return with your own. If they try to tear you down, your greatest response is to build yourself back up without ever looking back. Because nothing confuses those who want to see you fall more than seeing you thrive without retaliation. Letting go of revenge is not about pretending you weren't hurt. Meaning you weren't hurt. It's about choosing not to carry that hurt into your future. It's about not letting their actions live rent-free in your heart. When you respond with dignity, you're not denying the damage. They caused it. But you are refusing to let that damage define you. You're choosing to rise with grace, not sink with resentment. Some people will never understand the pain they've caused. They won't apologize. They won't admit they were wrong. And that's okay. You don't need the remorse to move on. You don't need closure from them when you can create it for yourself. Holding on to bitterness doesn't make the pain go away. It keeps it alive. But when you choose dignity over revenge, you allow healing to begin. There's a certain kind of silence that speaks volumes. A silence that doesn't scream, "I'm okay," but proves it through action. You show up for yourself. You grow. You evolve. You protect your peace. And one day, you look back and realize that the best revenge was never revenge at all. It was becoming everything they said you couldn't be. It was choosing your well-being over your ego. It was living with grace, not grudges. People remember how you made them feel. But even more than that, they remember how you carried yourself when things fell apart. When you could have been bitter, but chose to be better. When you could have struck back, but chose to walk away. That kind of strength leaves an impact. It shows a level of emotional maturity that revenge could never match. And dignity is not just for others to witness. It's for you to live in. It's waking up in the morning without guilt, without heaviness, without regret. It's looking in the mirror and being proud of how you handled things. It's knowing that you stayed true to who you are, even when it was hard. Aha! So when the opportunity to get even presents itself, ask yourself, what do you really want? A moment of satisfaction or a lifetime of peace? An argument won or a life well lived? In the end, revenge may feel powerful, but dignity is power. Quiet, calm, and unwavering. And when you walk with it, you don't just heal, you inspire. There is a kind of strength that doesn't raise its voice, doesn't seek to prove, and doesn't chase validation. It simply shows up, consistently, quietly, and powerfully. That strength is success. Not the kind defined by money or status, but the kind that reflects growth, resilience, and the ability to rise beyond pain, doubt, and disappointment. When people misunderstand you, question your worth, or speak your name without truth, the most powerful response isn't to argue, it's to succeed. Let your success be the answer. People will doubt you, your choices, your silence, your journey. Some may even hope to see you fall. They might minimize your efforts, criticize your dreams, or laugh at your failures. And in those moments, it's tempting to want to explain yourself, to defend your intentions, to correct every misunderstanding. But not everything deserves a response. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Sometimes the best thing you can do is stay focused and let your progress speak on your behalf. Because success doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to justify itself. It reveals everything quietly, clearly, and with impact. When you keep showing up, keep working, keep building yourself, while others are busy doubting, you shift the entire narrative without saying a word. That's the power of choosing action over argument, peace over pettiness, purpose over revenge. Every time you pour your energy into growth instead of retaliation, you're making a choice to rise. You're saying, I'll let my results speak louder than my emotions. And that doesn't mean you don't feel the hurt. It means you've chosen to turn that hurt into fuel instead of fire. And to fire. Into motivation instead of malice. That's where transformation happens. That's where real strength is born. You don't need to post about every achievement or shout about every step forward. Your success will echo in the rooms where your name was once dismissed. It will speak in the opportunities you create, the peace you preserve, and the confidence you carry. The best revenge, the best answer, the best closure is a life well lived, built with grace and focus. Success is about proving something to yourself, not to anyone else. It's about becoming the version of you that you're proud of, the one who stayed true, even when it was easier to break. It's about rising every time life tried to hold you down, and continuing even when no one was watching. That kind of success can't be faked. It's earned in silence, in patience, in persistence. Let your healing be loud in your peace. Let your discipline be seen in your routine. Let your growth be obvious in the way you carry yourself. When people see you thriving, grounded, and at peace despite what you've been through, that is your loudest answer. That is your most undeniable proof that you chose a higher path. It's easy to get lost in proving your worth to others. But true power comes when you realize that your life is not a courtroom, and you don't owe anyone a defense. Your path is yours, your vision is personal, and your success will not always be understood, but it will be undeniable. Let your success be quiet confidence, not noise. Let it become progress, not chaos. Let it be steady evolution, not public spectacle. Because the moment you stop needing approval is the moment you start truly growing. And the deeper your roots grow in silence, the stronger you bloom in the light. People remember how you made them feel, but they also remember how you rose, how you kept going, how you moved forward, how you turned pain into purpose. Let that be your legacy. Not bitterness, not revenge, but strength, consistency, grace. So when the world underestimates you, keep building. When people gossip, stay focused. When they expect you to fall, rise with quiet fire. Not because you need to prove them wrong, but because you were always meant to become more. Let your success be the answer, not to prove a point, but to live your truth. And in doing so, let that truth become louder than anything that was ever said about you. Life has a way of balancing itself, even when it seems unfair in the moment. When someone does you wrong, when you're hurt, betrayed, or mistreated, it's natural to want to see justice served. It's human to want to correct the wrongs, to make them feel the pain they caused. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step back, let go, and trust the unseen forces at work. Because karma never forgets. There is a natural law in this universe that works beyond our understanding. Every action creates a ripple. Every word, every choice, every intention, good or bad, plants a seed. And those seeds eventually grow. They might take time. They might go unnoticed for a while. But the consequences always arrive. That's the quiet promise of karma. When someone hurts you, you don't have to wish them harm. You don't have to plan revenge or wait to see them suffer. You don't even need to be around when the balance is restored. Life takes care of it in ways you can't predict. Sometimes it's through circumstances. Sometimes it's through their own inner battles. But the reckoning always comes. Because what you put out always finds a way back. Letting karma do its work is not about celebrating someone else's downfall. It's about trusting that justice does not always require your hands. It's about releasing the need to control outcomes. Buddhi, when you let go, you set yourself free from the burden of bitterness. You reclaim your energy, your time, and your peace. You rise while they remain trapped in the weight of their own choices. You might never see how someone's actions return to them, and that's okay. Karma isn't about giving you a front row seat to someone else's suffering. It's about teaching everyone the lessons they need to learn. It's about growth, correction, and accountability. For you, it becomes a path of healing. For them, it becomes a mirror they can't escape. Holding on to anger and seeking revenge can be exhausting. It keeps you connected to the pain, to the person, to the moment that broke you. But karma works best when you move forward, when you rise, when you build a life that reflects your values, not your wounds, not your wounds. That kind of strength becomes your silent response. That kind of progress is a message louder than any confrontation. It's easy to think people get away with things. It's easy to believe that cruelty goes unpunished, that lies are rewarded, and injustice wins. But that's only because we're watching from a limited perspective. Life is long. Seasons change. And karma is incredibly patient. What seems like a win today can turn into a hard lesson tomorrow. What looks like success can mask silent struggles we may never see. Your job is not to make karma happen. What? Kusai. Your job is to keep your heart clean, your path honest, and your intentions clear. The universe doesn't forget. The energy you put into the world becomes your legacy. Whether it's kindness or cruelty, generosity or selfishness, none of it is lost. It all circles back, often when it's least expected. So when you're wronged, don't carry the weight of revenge. Don't let bitterness poison your spirit. Acknowledge your pain, feel it, and then let it go. Not for them, for yourself. Because you deserve peace. You deserve a life that isn't built on retribution, but on healing, freedom, and purpose. Trust that what is meant for you will find its way to you. And what is meant for them will find its way back as well. Not because you wished it, not because you forced it, but because the universe has a memory longer than time. And karma never forgets. Live your life in truth. Be kind, even when it's hard. Walk away with grace. And allow the invisible scales of the universe to do what they've always done. Bring everything into balance. In the end, it's not your job to make others pay. Your job is to grow, to heal, to thrive. Because while karma remembers, so does grace. And both are always watching. There comes a point in life where protecting your peace becomes more important than proving your point. You realize that not everything deserves your attention. Not every person deserves access to your energy. And not every battle is worth fighting. Peace is not something you find outside. It's something you build within. And once you begin to value it, you guard it like a treasure. In a world full of noise, drama, opinions, and constant demands, your peace is sacred. It's the quiet strength that keeps you grounded. It's the stillness that helps you hear your own voice. It's the calm in the middle of the chaos, and the clarity when life gets messy. But peace doesn't just happen. It's something you have to choose, something you have to fight for. Not by arguing or shouting, but by walking away, by saying no, by knowing when to disconnect. You protect your peace by learning to let go of things that drain you. That includes people, habits, and environments that bring more stress than joy. Sometimes it means setting boundaries that others won't like. Sometimes it means being misunderstood. But you have to decide, is their comfort more important than your calm? Is being liked more valuable than being well? Choosing peace often means choosing solitude. It means being okay with not explaining yourself to everyone. It means prioritizing your mental and emotional health even when others expect you to keep giving. There's a kind of power in saying, I don't have the energy for this. I don't have the energy. Not because you're avoiding responsibility, but because you're taking responsibility for yourself. You don't need to show up for every argument. You don't need to fix every broken situation. Not everything requires your involvement. Protecting your peace sometimes means walking away from things that once mattered deeply, because now they only weigh you down. It means releasing the urge to control outcomes, to force connections, or to convince someone of your worth. Peace is knowing who you are and not letting outside chaos shake that. It's waking up without dread, going to sleep without bitterness, and spending your days in alignment with what matters most to you. That doesn't mean life is perfect. It means you've chosen to not let the imperfections own you. People might call you cold for not reacting. They might call you selfish for choosing yourself. But peace doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It doesn't need to be explained or defended. It just needs to be lived. There will be times when people expect a version of you that no longer exists. Times when you're tempted to lower your standards just to keep the peace with others. But protecting your peace isn't about pleasing others. It's about honoring yourself. You can still be kind, still be loving, still be generous, and also say, "This isn't for me." You learn that not every relationship is meant to last. Not every opportunity aligns with your values. Not every invitation needs a yes. Peace is found in the pauses, in the space between what happens and how you respond. It's found when you take a step back, breathe, and ask yourself, is this worth my energy, my time, my presence? You protect your peace when you stop chasing closure from people who never valued your presence. When you stop trying to prove your loyalty to those who questioned it. When you no longer let guilt manipulate your decisions. That kind of freedom is rare. That kind of peace is priceless. The world will keep spinning. People will keep talking. Life will keep throwing unexpected challenges your way. But when you've protected your peace, you move differently. You don't get pulled into every storm. You don't crumble with every criticism. You stand rooted, calm, and clear. Because you've done the inner work to protect what matters most. And in the end, it's not about how loud your life is. It's about how calm your soul feels. Peace is the real success. It's the quiet confidence, the restful mind, and the gentle heart. So choose it every day. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth everything. It's easy to appear composed when everything is going well. It's simple to be kind when people are kind to you. But the true test of character comes when you're treated unfairly, when someone disrespects you, when you're pushed, tested, or provoked. In those moments, your response reveals who you really are, not in the eyes of others, but in the quiet truth you carry within yourself. Anyone can react. Anyone can lash out, defend, or attack when they feel wronged. That doesn't take much effort. But choosing to respond with grace, to remain calm in the face of chaos, to rise instead of retaliate, that requires depth, strength, and self-awareness. Your response is the mirror of your inner world. It reflects your maturity, your values, and your self-control. When someone tries to bring you down, how you respond speaks volumes. Do you let their energy dictate yours? Do you meet them at the level of insult and disrespect? Or do you pause, breathe, and choose something different? Something better. There is no power in becoming what hurt you. There is no victory in stooping to the same level as those who act without thought, compassion, or respect. Your power lies in restraint. In knowing that while you could react, you choose not to. Not because you're weak, but because you're grounded in something deeper. People will say things to provoke you. They will challenge your patience, question your intentions, even try to break your spirit. But those moments are not about them. They're about you. How you handle those situations shows the world who you are. But more importantly, it shows you who you are. And with every calm response, with every dignified silence, you become more of the person you were meant to be. Your response is your reputation. It's what people remember long after the situation has passed. No one remembers the drama. They remember how you carried yourself. They remember whether you added fuel to the fire or stood tall while the flames burned around you. And the truth is, the way you respond has the power to either escalate conflict or dissolve it, to harm or to heal, to tear down or to build up. It's not about being passive, it's about being intentional. You're not ignoring your feelings. You're choosing to express them in a way that aligns with your integrity. You're not letting people walk over you. You're deciding not to let their behavior control your emotional state. That kind of emotional discipline is rare, and it's what separates reaction from response. It's not always easy. It takes effort to stay composed when your heart is hurting or when your pride feels bruised. It takes courage to remain kind when someone is cruel. But every time you do, you reinforce your character. You create a pattern of strength, a habit of grace, and a legacy of resilience. Think of the people you admire. Think of those who lead with wisdom and humility. What makes them inspiring isn't how they respond when life is easy. It's how they carry themselves in the face of adversity. It's how they stay true to their values when been tested. It's how they speak with intention, even when silence might be easier. You get to choose your response. You don't have to let anger win. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You can take a breath, create space, and answer from a place of clarity. That's not just strength, that's freedom. Because when you can control your response, you're no longer at the mercy of others. You're in control of your emotions, your direction, and your peace. Let others reveal who they are through their actions. You reveal who you are through your response. And when you choose to respond with thought, with grace, and with wisdom, you leave behind a trail of strength that speaks louder than any outburst ever could. So the next time you're tested, remember this. Your response is your power. Your calm is your strength. And your character, the truest part of you, is revealed not in what happens to you, but in how you choose to rise in response.